Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, we'll go over the market, we'll go over Tesla, figure out what the hell just happened today, what we can expect moving forward, of course, and all of that good stuff. So as usual, if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own research, do your own decisions, whatever, all that good stuff. And of course, I do have my membership, section, if you will, live, so you guys can go ahead and check that out if you want. Down below, it's only $2.99 a month, I believe, and pretty much what you get is my intraday thoughts as the market is moving, of course, intraday. And I'll be posting that as well. But all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the market closing in just about 5 minutes. Now, important thing to note very quickly before we move in further, actually, is tomorrow is the annual shareholder day for Tesla. I'm not sure if it's going to be streamed or not. I'm not even honestly sure what time it is. I just know it's tomorrow. Now, there is a chance that actually might mean something. And when I say mean something, obviously I'm referring to something as simple as, moving Tesla, TSLA, right? Now, the only way, in my opinion, that the, I guess, quote unquote, event tomorrow has any chance of moving Tesla, I mean, honestly, in any direction, but let's just talk about ups for a green or up or whatever, is if they announce or reveal something pretty substantial. I don't think they will, though. That's the problem. I'd be surprised if they actually do that. But if they do, it can definitely move Tesla. However, we're not going to speculate into that. Obviously, what we can speculate for now is really what the chart is telling us. So we're going to be talking about that. So that being said, Tesla is going to be pretty much closing the day down about 1%, putting us at just over $166. Now, compared to the market, you can see, obviously, definitely an underperformance. Now, one thing that's a little bit suspicious about the market is the fact that VIX is green on an overall green market day. So that's a little bit suspicious. So we'll see if that actually forms into anything whatsoever. Now, they're both green. The market itself and VIX are not like that green, only a little green. So that's not like that suspicious, but it is raising some eyebrows. Let's just say that. Right? So keep that in mind, right? It could be a bit of a bull trap coming up here. But with that being said, moving back to Tesla. So as we discussed last week, we did fall out of this overall bear flag. Let me make the time frame actually a little bit larger so you guys can get the overall broader picture, right? We have this massive bear flag from whatever up here, whatever you want to call it. But regardless, we have a bear flag, right, that we did fall out of last week. I think it was, maybe Thursday? Maybe it was Friday? I can't remember exactly. Actually, I think it was Friday. Right. And then this morning, what happened, and I talked about this here as well, is we essentially came up with a retest, and I said how essentially it needs to be above 170. If we can get above 170, bullish. Clearly, that didn't happen, right? We came up exactly to the 170 level, which was not only a retest of the bear flag on the 1 hour, but it was also, of course, the 170 psychological level that has been, a support back here. You can see resistance here, resistance, a little bit of support, right? And then we crashed through it, and then the downtrend continued, right? So it's a very, very crucial level. So we came up to it, retested it for the bear flag, and just, the simple resistance of 170 clearly failed and had a pretty decent sell-off following that. Now, what do I personally see happening here, right? I personally see essentially a mini bear flag forming now, right? So we broke out of the main bear flag. Now we have a little bit of a mini bear flag forming. And this is kind of what I see. And again, it's really common to have 5 touch points. 1, 2, 3, potentially going up to 5 one more time, which is essentially going back to 170, and then we make our way down even further. So that's kind of what I am seeing at the very moment, right? That's what I personally project, right? Another run up pretty much up to 170 once again, probably get rejected once again, and then we fall. Now, there is a flip scenario that makes this a little bit more complicated in my opinion. This is where things get a little confusing in my opinion. So the one thing I don't like about this situation and the way Tesla looks right now is I personally don't like how this retest happened. I don't like how short of a time frame it happened from breaking down. It didn't really go down too much. It kind of retested it when it was still kind of hovering around it. You know what I mean? Usually when I like to see retests of, these kind of bear flags, right? I don't want to see it like this. I want to see something where we break down pretty much like this actually, and then we get an actual true retest, and then we go lower. This retest is just, it happened so soon from the breakdown, and it didn't really move too far down from the breakdown itself before the retest even happened. That's why this retest to me is like a little confusing. Like it technically is, but it doesn't feel proper, if that makes sense. I don't know if that, hopefully that makes sense, but it doesn't feel like a true retest, right? So I'm personally still kind of eyeballing a true retest of Tesla, which is essentially what I have here, right? Where from here, now we go back up to the bottom of the bear flag, and now we actually retest it. But this is where I talked about it makes things confusing, because if that were to happen in theory, and from here we go up to here to retest it, well, not only is it going to be breaking northwards of this mini bear flag, but we're also going to be re-entering the 170s. So pretty much go up to maybe like 172, 173 in order to successfully retest this bear flag downturn that we have had from last week. But the issue is, of course, if we do that, well, now we're above 170. And is it back to being bullish or is it not? Because now it's inside this little weird limbo land over here where it's still technically bearish because it's below the bear flag and it's arguably just retesting it. But it's also above this 170 level, which is a pretty, arguably important level. So that's the part that gets a little confusing. So that's something I just want to kind of throw out there, and that's what I am kind of thinking about. It doesn't mean it has to happen. You can technically just this could be the validation of the bear flag right here. A little bit weird to me, honestly, but it absolutely still can be. It's just not as clean as I would like to see. So just thought I would point that out as a food for thought, if you will. But regardless, putting all that aside, essentially what I'm seeing right now is you can still make an argument this is the retest. Now we're making essentially a little bit of a bear flag, potential go up to 170 once again, get another rejection up of 170, and then play out this mini bear flag and continue the downtrend from the overall bear flag, the bigger one that is still, in my opinion, should be playing out. Because at the moment, we had a chance to re-enter the bear flag here, this 170 today, this morning. We didn't. And we had a pretty massive rally back down. So at the moment, Tesla, in my opinion, even though there's still potential for a bit of a bounce tomorrow, back up to 170, overall still looks more bearish. So I just took a shower and I have like eyelashes in my, but it overall still looks more bearish than bullish. No question about it whatsoever, right? Regardless of this little bit of a bounce or not. So again, the way I see it, we go up here, we go lower from here, or the very confusing scenario is this, right? But regardless, I personally believe that regardless of which path of these three we take, all of them will lead sorry guys, my weird eyelash. It keeps like blocking my eye. But all of them, I believe, will lead us further down for Tesla. And like I said, the main level I'm personally eyeballing to go lower is at the very least back to this 154 level for a double bottom, or go even lower to this 145 level, to which we start setting up a bullish divergence. So in other words, we go down, let's say whatever we do up here, we go down, let's say all the way to over here, which is about that 145-ish level. We gap fill, and the RSI doesn't go as low as that. It maybe goes up to somewhere right here. So even though we went lower, the RSI didn't, and then we get a bullish divergence, and that is nice to see. And that would be a good bounce. On top of that, again, we've talked about it several times, but in case you missed it, or whatever the case may be, this is of course going to be on the daily at least. If we go up here to here, right? If we go from this swing low here to this arguable swing high up here, right? You can still make an argument the fact that this 145 is a 0.618 level. Now it's a so level to go to, right? It is still very possible. Ideally for the bulls, what you want to see is you actually do want to see a bounce at 160, and ideally we get a bounce on this 0.5 level, which again is 160, which we're technically at right now, or like we have already, right? You can make a little bit of an anomaly case for these two candles here, but for the most part, did get some pretty nice bounces. You can see here at 160, a lot of candles bouncing off this level here, except for these two really weird kind of anomaly candles. So that's another example, guys. Like, some people might be waiting for 140, but there's a chance we don't even get there, right? Just, you also have to keep that in mind with stocks, right? That's why trading is difficult, because that's where people get FOMO, right? Maybe it goes even lower, right? For all we know, it can go even down to 126. However, with that being said, to me, between 160 to 145 is like the golden zone. That to me is the most important area, and I think will be the best area. Not financial advice, just my opinion. Of course, could be completely wrong, but it could be a nice little bit of an area to pick up some shares. Just my opinion, of course, right? But that's kind of what I am thinking and what I am seeing as of right now, right? So that's more or less what I can see happening. Now, again, it's tough. Now, technically 160 can be that, the bottom. It absolutely can. It feels like it should go lower. Like, I feel like 145 is in play. I really do. But I feel like also the issue is a lot of people are eyeballing 145 now. Like, everyone is like thinking, yeah, 145 gap fill. It's like, if everyone's looking at it, makes it kind of a little more suspicious. You know what I mean? But that's kind of one thing I am also seeing. But, with this market and this, the way it's looking up, SPY definitely getting a little bit tight over here, right? So, if SPY decides to move to the downside from here, right, that could be pretty bad. We also have in America the whole like default shenanigans happening right now. That can bring a lot of fear into the market. But as long as the VIX is essentially below 20, I don't think there's going to be any major move to the downside. Nothing crazy, nothing substantial, nothing spooky, I guess. But if the VIX ever goes above 20, that's when I think there opens up the possibilities, that Pandora's door, if you will, to like an actual spooky, like pretty aggressive move to the downside, not just for Tesla, but the market in general. So I'll be eyeballing that extremely closely as well. VIX below 20, the market's probably still pretty safe for the most part without anything vicious. But above 20, that's when you want to maybe, start bracing yourself a little bit, especially if VIX, starts closing above 20. Very important. But nonetheless, guys, that's essentially what I'm seeing. Let me know what you think down below. The R side, you can see on the daily, is starting to, show a little bit of weakness here. So I personally think Tesla definitely looks more bearish than bullish as of right now. But of course, we'll go by the levels we just spoke of. And yeah, so thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.